What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Earn It, Save It, Invest It. If you haven't heard by now, EA just got sold or bought for $55 billion by the Saudi prince. So I'm going to quickly go over the best video game stocks that are in the market right now. If you're a gamer and you want to find other ways to make money by video games, well, you can buy some video game stocks, and there are plenty of them. So we're going to go over the list. There's about 12, 15 stocks I have. I'm going to kind of break it down really quick. I'm just going to go over all the video game stocks. If you do like my stuff, please give a like and subscribe. I'm just going to try to make this as quick as I can because there are a lot of stocks to go over. So this is my road to $100,000 really quick. If you do follow me, I have this challenge where I'm taking $7,300 and trying to make it into $100,000. So this is where I'm at right now. I'm not going to really go over it. Hims is my top one. I sold a little bit last week, and I'm pretty convinced that it's going to go down this month. But besides that, I'm holding $1,000 cash ready to buy. I'm going to buy a little bit of Fubo this week, and then I'm ready for a little bit of a correction to happen in the next month or two. But to go over the video games, these are the video game stocks that I think you should be watching. These are the top 5. You have Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Nvidia, and AMD. Now, I think those are pretty obvious, right? You have Sony, which is the PlayStation. You have Microsoft, the Xbox. You have Nintendo, Nvidia, and AMD with computers and all that, right? So these are kind of like the top dogs when it comes to video games in terms of that brand name, the software, the actual things that we're using, right? The big hardware. So we have Sony market cap at 171 billion, Microsoft at 3.8 trillion, Nintendo at 102 billion, Nvidia at 4.5 trillion, and AMD at 266 billion. So all of these are really big companies, obviously. The employee size obviously ranges. We have 8,200 for Nintendo. We have 228,000 for Microsoft. Now, obviously, Microsoft is not just video games, where Nintendo is way more towards video games type of. They do have their brands and their IPs, but still. And Nvidia and AMD, they are not just video games either, obviously, right? So, and neither is Sony or Microsoft. So Nintendo is definitely more of the really into the video games. And as you can see, they only have one analyst. Now, Nintendo is I believe it's a Chinese company, I believe. So they don't have a whole lot. Same with the Sony, right? As you can see, they don't have a lot of analysts. Now, it's flipped. They have 1 and 5, and this one's 5 and 1, but still, they don't have nearly as much coverage. And as you can see, both of them are the least valued. They are more focused on those two, more focused on the video games than the others. So if we look at just these are the returns over the last year. Let's go 3 years. Over the last 3 years, Nvidia is just obviously dominating, and then we have AMD, Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. They've all done pretty well over 3 year span, right? But that's also since we've had a pretty decent crash in 2022. So let's bring it back to the 1 year, and it's switched a little, right? Sony is now closer to the top. I mean, Nvidia is not nearly dominating, right, over the last year. In fact, we have both of the Chinese companies beating. Actually, let's see. At the very end, Nvidia did come back, actually. That was like a month ago or just a week ago. Nvidia has made a comeback. So this is the ratings, just really quick. I'm not going to go over it. This is just through all the analysts, right? The average of, okay, this is what they think you should be doing to it. This is some of the factors that Seeking Alpha has. A bunch of their analysts go over all the numbers, and they kind of make a judgment call of what they think, and they give it a grade, right? But I always find that if you have a high market cap and a semi-high, it doesn't even have to be just medium PE ratio, you're going to have like a D or an F valuation almost all the time. Even if you have an A plus or an A in growth, right? You have an F in valuation, an A in growth, an A plus in profitability, right? When you look at this, you'd be like, well, if you take away the valuation, Nvidia is completely, way better, and so is Sony is actually really good too, right? AMD is pretty good. It has a C plus on EPS revisions, but other than that, NVIDIA is dominating, right? The valuation is really weird. It's all just kind of, again, this is all a judgment call by their analysts in a way. This is what they've been trading. So the 52-week high, 52-week lows, as you can see, has ranges, but we're not going to go through all of that. Total return, we'll kind of go over, let's just go over the 10-year. Look at this. Look at the 10-year, obviously. We don't even have to look at the names. We can already we know who this is. We know who you are, NVIDIA. Other than that, we have over here AMD. This was what, Microsoft, yep, and so yeah, Sony and Nintendo right there. So obviously, in the last year, Sony and Nintendo have been keeping up, but over a long-term stretch, these other ones are doing a lot better now. Microsoft, I'm actually surprised. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised on how far it's lagging behind. NVIDIA's been just a monster. But I do believe Microsoft has actually a really good future ahead of it. We have dividends. There's a few dividends. Obviously, they can be very small. NVIDIA, just forget about NVIDIA. That's not a dividend. Sony, it's at least 0.5%. Microsoft, it's a little bit bigger. And Nintendo, it's even bigger. So, a few dividends, but nothing too crazy. Valuation, obviously, if you are a profitable company, you're going to have a positive forward PE. And if you're not making profits, then you're not. So right here we have the PE ratios, like I said, it's 33. Or right here, sorry, 33, 42, 69, right here. And it's not that high. The market is around this right here. It's around 23. That's about the market in the 20 to 23, right? That's somewhere around the range. So to be up to 33 is not that bad. 42, okay. It just seems, it's just crazy how this one had, I think, a worse valuation than AMD and NVIDIA did. But anyway, let's go through the growth, because what we care about most is the growth. So we have dominated by NVIDIA, right? Revenue growth dominated, right? Let's see, net income. Oh, let's go to the profitability. Look at that. And Microsoft, they're doing really well, actually, the gross profit margin. But let's look at the net. The net is what that's what you're getting. We have 36 and 52. Look at that. Look at that. That's great. This is a little bit of a surprise. AMD is, it's significantly lower than Nintendo, but it's almost the same as Sony. So, when we're looking at these so far, I'm going to say NVIDIA is looking like the best, right? In terms of just how much it's making, how the growth, the income, the revenue so far, NVIDIA just takes the cake by far. Shares outstanding, all this stuff, we don't really even need to see that. These are too big of companies to even worry about. We already went over the performance, the risk, and the income statement. Again, here we go. I guess I could have gone over this a little bit easier, but revenue, we have this. I guess that was the growth. The revenue. This is just the actual numbers of the revenue. And when you look at it, Microsoft actually makes more than NVIDIA, right? But the net income, they almost make as much as Microsoft, right? Because their income margin is just so big. It's so much bigger, right? That's what she said. So NVIDIA just really dominates when it comes to that. The balance sheet, let's see how much cash they have. Microsoft dominates in the cash balance. NVIDIA is pretty significantly behind it, but at $94 billion cash, who isn't? And then you have Nintendo, Sony, and AMD is actually the lowest cash holder. That makes me a little worried. I actually have, not too worried. I do believe in AMD in the business, to be honest with you, but that's kind of interesting, comparing all this. I kind of looked at these comparisons before. I looked at some of the stuff, but I just put together all the stocks, all the ticker symbols, and was like, I'm just going to, just break it down just quickly. The total debt, Nintendo has zero debt. Wow. So the total debt, obviously, Microsoft has a lot more. Now, one thing I don't like is something that has significantly or even just more debt than you do cash. Now, this is almost right on it, but they have more debt than they do cash. They have more debt, Microsoft, than they do total cash, even though that cash load is, that's 94 billion, but you have 112 billion in debt. Nintendo 36, right? They're in the, or 13, right? They're in the plus, right? Right here we have the net debt, right? And so it's like, you look at how much these, that's a billion. So we have 78 million, right? Which is less, a lot less than just 1 billion. But then we have 17 billion. And then Nvidia, it's plus compared to its cash and debt. I mean, the debt is negative 46, right? So it technically has a plus of 46. That's just insane. That's just great. Nvidia is a top premier stock. When you look at it, like, just all the numbers are amazing. Yeah, anytime you compare Nvidia, it's just ridiculous. And then we have the cash flow statement. Again, it's just dominates. I mean, Microsoft is up there, but again, it's just, how much is it really taking in, at the end of the day, which the net income really shows you Nvidia is taking the cake. So that's just to go over those ones really quick. I have other ones, right? Because I did mention EA. I mentioned, man, it's going to take a while. So there's going to be some other stocks. Let's go to number 2. Let's go to EA. Now, these are the actual video games, right? So we have EA, which is Electronic Arts. We have Take-Two Interactive. We have Roblox, NetEase, and Tencent Holdings. So these are all companies that create software or create actual games that we're playing on. And I definitely want to put EA in here because it is being sold for $55 billion, and as of today, October 2nd, its market cap is $50 billion. So technically, it's going to be, if you're a stockholder, it's still going to be, or shareholder. If you're going to be a shareholder, it's going to be over 5% or about 5% more of a premium of what you have right now. I did have this a little while ago. Obviously, I did not see someone buying out EA for $55 billion. But I held on to it for a long time. I held on to it for about 3 years, and it really didn't go anywhere. And of course, right? Of course, right? When you sell it, this happened. Whatever. I only had one share. I didn't have thousands of dollars. I had one share, and it is what it is. Take-Two, $47 billion. Roblox, $92 billion. NetEase, $96 billion. Tencent Holdings, $771 billion. So obviously, when we're going to be looking at these numbers, you can see that this is going to be the big dog right here, Tencent, right? It doesn't do only video games. It does other things as well. Just like a Microsoft, how it had really big numbers. I mean, so did Nvidia, but they don't just do video games. Whereas in Sony, Nintendo, those were more towards video games more than the others, at least, right? So, employees, we can look at that. Obviously, Tencent, a lot more. Let's start breaking down the numbers. Let's just start getting really quick into these numbers, not waste any time. Over the last 5 years, we have Roblox taking it, then NetEase, Take-Two, EA, and Tencent. Like I said, EA, even after its big jump, it's fourth out of fifth on all this. I mean, last 3 years, let's see what it is, where it is. It's last. It's in last place, and that's after its big jump. I mean, really, in the last 3 years, 44%? No way. I must have bought it when it was like, I forgot when I bought it. I'll have to check on that. But I know I didn't make a significant amount. I don't feel like I made 44%. So I definitely must have bought it when it was already up here, like 15% or something. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's get to it. They got the grades are everywhere. It's a little bit more like Christmas rather than the other ones. You have a valuation at F and a growth at C, and yet you're being sold at, more than 10% the premium because the stock price right now is at 50, but before the news it was at it's not at 50. Wait, it's at like 100 and something. No, it's at 50%, right? Yeah, I know the stock price. No, stock price is about 200. The stock price was at around 150, 160, and then it jumped up significantly. And so obviously with that, the valuation is going to go, the grade goes down, but the growth isn't going to, none of these numbers change when the stock price goes up. The growth is still a C. So they bought EA for such a high price, and yet its growth is a C. I mean, the profitability is an A, so A minus. But let's just go through it really quick. As you can see, the 10-year return, Take-Two takes the cake. Then we have NetEase and Tencent, and even if we go to 3 years, though, Roblox is the big winner on that one. I think Roblox takes the cake on every single one. So Roblox is a big one right now. Let's see what happens. I know it has had a pretty good run up. My kids, they both have minor Roth IRAs, so my son, he liked Roblox for a little bit, and then he doesn't play anymore. But when he did, I bought him one. I bought him Roblox. It was at like $60, and now it's at, I don't know, like 100 something. And I do that stuff to kind of like, oh hey, they're into this. Let me buy some of the stock, and it kind of gets them interested in the stock market. So I think that's just always a good thing to think about. Let's look at the valuations. The forward PE, we have 53, and again, if you are not profitable, then you're going to have these right here. So these two are not profitable yet. And then we have EA, which is at a 50. That's a high PE, obviously, right? That's the forward. Trailing is 33. And then we have 18, 19 over here for NetEase, and then 24 and 20. So these are more towards the market, right? And Take-Two, the trailing 12 months, I mean, look at that. That's really high. The growth, revenue growth, Roblox, of course, right? It should be, because it's just been doing a big run up over everybody else and all those other categories in terms of share price and the revenues and the growth, all that stuff. So it should be growing faster. We have the gross profit margin. So the gross, right, again, is what you get, and then you have at the end is your net. So Roblox may be growing a lot more, but at the end, it's still not making money, like profit, right? So it's still paying more than what it's actually earning. Take-Two, significantly, that is really bad. The other ones, I mean, EA is like, okay, it's okay, right? But you have NetEase and Tencent, which are both at around 30%, which is really well. Then we have income statement. This is the revenue, how much they're actually making. As you can see, Roblox is making $4 billion, which is the least, but it's growing. It's grown so much, right? But its net income is negative, almost $1 billion, right? Now we have EA, which is flipped. It actually makes a profit of $1 billion off a $7.47 billion revenue. So, that's all right. I mean, and Tencent obviously at $98 billion, and then they net about $29 billion. So that's pretty good. Balance sheets. The total cash. Again, these two just dominate. Tencent, NetEase, with 53 billion, 20 billion. Roblox actually has a decent amount of cash, and when you see their net debt, they're actually doing well. So this is another positive, right? Obviously, they need to have their net income better, but in terms of all the other things, their growth is doing really well. Their cash to debt ratio is really well, so that's good. EA is in debt, right? Not too much, but they are in debt compared to how much cash they have. And then we have the cash flow, the net operating cash flow. So again, just domination. As we can see, EA is kind of just always in the middle of the pack. But it got sold for a premium. Roblox is going up and up and up, and it's not netting any actual profits yet, but it's a high growth company right now, so people think it's going to keep on growing and growing. My son, like I said, he was into it for a little bit, and There was a couple games I was like, okay, it was all right, but we're also playing with bad service. It wasn't really good, so I can't 100% say what those games were like. So I don't have experience with Roblox that much, but I will say that the stock is doing really well. Now these are really quick. What are we at? We're at 20 minutes, so I want to break these last ones down a lot faster. So we have NVIDIA, AMD, Unity, Turtle Beach, and Logitech. These are 5 stocks that are the software, right? You have NVIDIA and AMD, all of them, they do the software and the technology that goes within this. Now, NVIDIA and AMD we already did, so we're kind of focused on these last 3. Unity is more of the software. Turtle Beach does like the actual hardware, like headphones and keyboards, stuff like that. Same with Logitech, they're fairly much like that too. But again, if you want to just think about how can I make money off video games, you can actually make money on video games. Even though you're not playing video games, you can make money on video games. So let's go over this really quick. The market cap, again, these two just destroy everyone. Unity is at 16 billion, Turtle Beach just at 308 million, and Logitech at 15 billion, right? So Turtle Beach is the obvious small dog. With only 262 employees, right? Not even 1,000 compared to all these other ones. So if we look at the returns, Unity is doing the best. Where is it? Where are they? Okay. Why is it not showing AMD? It's weird. So we have Unity, NVIDIA, Logitech, Turtle Beach, and AMD, right? That's how they're doing. So let's go 5-year though. Let's go 5-year. Okay, let's ignore NVIDIA. So, looking over the 5-year, you can see Turtle Beach and Unity are actually negative, and Logitech is up 40%. So Unity is down a lot, down 50% over the last 5 years. Maybe we can find out why. People have it as a buy though. So let's see what's going on. So we have the valuation. Whoa, we have an A, Turtle Beach. That's crazy. That's probably just because it's under $1 billion, right? Like I told you, if you do not have a high market cap, the profitability is a C. Their momentum, their growth is an A+, but the valuation, just because it's not a high valued company, I think. That's honestly what I think it is. If you just have a high valuation, doesn't matter if you have great growth. NVIDIA, you would look at it and be like, really? I mean, it also is the most valuable company in the world, like $4.5 trillion. So it's like, okay, it's more than many countries in a year. So let's go over really quick valuation. Here we go. So we have the forward PE. So we have the trailing 12 months, and we have the forward. Let's look again at these 3. So we have 16, which is, that's under market right now. This is about in line with market. 45, that's definitely a lot higher. That's the trailing 12 months for Unity, but that's higher. That's higher than the market. Let's see price to book, let's see here. Price to sales, right? When you look at this, the higher the number, but I mean, NVIDIA is just a beast. It's a beast. Let's look at the growth. Unity, if your revenue is growing year over year at a negative pace, what are we doing here? Turtle Beach is at 24% and Logitech is at 4%. So right now, Turtle Beach is looking like a better investment than these two, right? Let's see. Let's look at their gross profit margin. Right now, the gross profit margin, obviously, Turtle Beach is the loser in this one. But let's see the net income margin. Almost. Unity is bad, man. Unity is bad. It's like, that's bad. But Turtle Beach is at 5. Not great. So if anything hits your margins, you're screwed, right? And that's what the tariffs and all that stuff, right? When NVIDIA has a 52% margin, even if they go to 40, it's still really good. Right now, yes, valuation changes, the stock price will go down, so certain things will happen, but the company itself will still be able to manage all the money and grow. Whereas in someone like a Turtle Beach, hits the margins, then they're like struggling just to survive. So it's a little bit different, obviously. You want those net margins to be a lot higher than that. Let's just see I only look at ownership really if it's like on the smaller side of a company, or it was a company that had really high growth and the valuation's high, like a Palantir, but they have like I think a 7, maybe 5% or a 7% ownership of insiders, maybe even 12%. It was a high number, and I was like, wow, if insiders decide to sell, things are going to crash. So let's just see what the percent is. Insiders is at 15%, right? NVIDIA as well. That's actually higher than I thought. But Turtle Beach is at 15%. So if the insiders, the people inside the company, they choose to sell, and I think there's only 200 and something employees, they could crash the stock if they wanted to. I mean, not like they'd want to, but if they were selling it heavy. So the income statement, let's go over the revenues. Again, NVIDIA and AMD, we're not going to go over Unity, Turtle Beach, Logitech. Logitech just completely beats them. The net income, obviously, Turtle Beach is not making that much. They're only making 20 million in profits. Logitech is making 635 million, and Unity is losing 433 million. The balance sheet, the total cash of Unity, Turtle Beach, and Logitech, obviously, you can see they only have 11 million in cash. That's not that much. Let's look at the total debt. So the net debt, obviously, it doesn't help. Now, even though this is a smaller number than Unity, they're still, I don't know, they're still making a bigger profit, though, than Unity, right? I mean, that's a lot. 650 million for, that's just insane. When they don't make that much. I mean, if this company was really growing fast, I don't know. Well, maybe I'll do a deep dive into that one, but I don't know. That's pretty crazy. Now let's go over the cash flow really quick. Decent cash flow, right? Don't have a crazy capex, but I don't know. I mean, you'd like bigger numbers than this, obviously. I would not be an investor in a Turtle Beach right now. It's too small and the growth is not there to me, but that's those 5, right? Mostly 3. And then let's go over, these are 3 that you might not have thought of, but when you think about it, Apple, Google, and Meta are both video games. Apple Store, you have the Play Store, and then you have Meta, which is getting into the metaverse, right? So these 3 are actually in video games. So, excuse me, if you were to invest into Apple, Google, or Meta, you are investing into video games as well. So let's check it out. Market cap, Apple at 3.79 trillion, Google at 2.97 trillion, Meta at 1.8 trillion. Employees, lots. We don't even need, there's certain things we don't need to really go over. Let's just check out the 1 year. We got Google dominating, then Meta, then Apple. Apple has not kept up with the AI movement, not a lot of exciting products over the years. So Apple has kind of lagged in a lot of departments. But still, Apple's down a lot more. Google was over. Wow, if you look at Meta, this was 2023. Yeah, once we got into 2024, Meta came back. Well, Meta just took the biggest crash in 2022, right? Such a big crash. If you had bought Meta in 2022, at any time in 2022, but in October or November, you were loving yourself. You are loving yourself now if you didn't sell it. Let's just go over a 10-year span. Equals out a little bit more, and now Apple's on top, right? So over the long term, Apple does come out on top, but we'll see how it happens over the next 5 or 10 years. Again, valuations are always going to be like that, whatever. Growth, let's just go over the numbers. So tired. They all have dividends, very small dividends. We're not even going to go over that. It's fine. But they are dividends. Meta does pay a dividend. Google pays a dividend, and so does Apple. So, Then we have, let's go over the valuation. So we have Their forward PE. Now these are going to be more in line, slightly higher than the market. We have 34, 24, 25. That's just because these companies are some of the most valuable companies in the world, and even though they trade at a premium, they're not too much of a premium, right? You look at someone else like a Palantir, you look at Hims, something like that, that's a lot higher, a lot higher. Revenue growth for these companies, Meta beats it, then Google, then Apple. Again, this is also another reason why, excuse me, you just talking about Apple. It's putting me to sleep. But the stock has really been putting other people to sleep in terms of not just the stock, but the business, the products, right? When was the last time you were excited for an Apple product? Not, I guess we're never excited for a Google product, but Google does make our lives easier every year, and Meta has done things to make our lives easier and better. Whoever's watching this, you probably use a Meta product. So let's look at the profitability. The gross profit margin, as you can see, is leans over here to Meta at 82% basically, then Google at around 59%, and then Apple at 46%. So Meta gross is doing well. Look at the net over here, still dominating at about 40. Google's at 31, and then we have Apple at 24. So Meta so far is dominating most of these categories. If you're looking to buy something again when it comes to video games. Now let's go income statement, revenue. Meta makes the least amount of money. It only makes 178 billion, right? Google makes 371 billion, Apple makes 408 billion, right? But the net income, you have 99 billion, 115 billion, and 71 billion, right? So Meta makes a lot less money in revenue, but they make a larger amount in portion size, right, in ratio, and profits. So that helps a lot, right? So far right now Meta is dominating in terms of just overall total cash, right? It's not dominating here, but let's see what happens, right? We have Apple at 55, Google at 95, Meta at 47, so it's actually lagging. Total debt 101. So wow, Apple is doing they're negative 31 billion, right? I guess this is the total cash per share that they own. So it's 31 billion. So that's pretty crazy. Then they have 1.7. So their the total net debt is minus 53. There's better. Oh, sorry, I had this wrong. I thought it was 31. It's negative 31. So negative 53. And so Meta actually has more debt, right, than they do cash. So that is one thing that's not a concern necessarily, but it's something to just keep an eye out. Then we have the cash flows. Obviously, they make a buttload of money. 108 billion in net operating cash flow for Apple, 133 billion Google, 102 for Meta. Their capital expenditures. Now this is obviously interesting when you look at Apple. They spend a lot less, and I think you can feel it. Their products are just less, right? They're not investing as much. Their creativity is not there anymore, I guess. Then we have 66 and 52, right? So they're spending a lot of money on improving their companies. And I find that okay because these are technology companies. These companies need to grow. These companies need to change, and they need to roll with the times. So that was a long one. If you like my stuff, give a like and subscribe, please. Like I said, that was a long one right there. I hope you got something out of it, going over those stocks really quick. Kind of, this is like the video game market, right? Of like the top video game stocks. And if I missed one, let me know. Please let me know. Write it in the comments. Hey, you missed this one. Hey, you missed that one. Whatever it is. Because I'm going to keep an eye on the market all the time. And I am pretty tired. That was a longer video than I expected. And maybe not, but had a long week. So it's, that's the video game market, basically. If you are thinking about making money in if you are thinking about making money on video games without playing video games, you can buy stocks, right? So that's all the stocks right there. Please give a like and subscribe if you like all this stuff. And yeah, never forget to earn it, save it, invest it, buy low, sell high. I want assets, not liabilities, and you can count on compounded interest.